What's the difference between getting cortisone injections versus getting PRP injections? My name is Huang. Let's discuss that today. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, so I don't provide either one. These services, whether you're getting any kind of injections, are actually coming from your surgeon, your doctor. But my patients ask me this all the time. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist with my therapy clinic here in Miami at Hands On Therapy Services. And so a lot of my patients will come in and they'll ask me these types of questions. So I figured, let me make that for you. If you are in the search of considering, should I get injections for my shoulder pain or should I do therapy, right? Because really at the end of the day, nothing is guaranteed. But if you're gonna do the work, like at least be informed and make an active decision about it, right? So if you haven't heard about the pros and cons of cortisone injections, they're widely used for shoulder tendonitis types of problems. And so check out that last video because it might help you decide whether cortisone injections are for you or not. But I get this question even though I don't provide it, and my patients or potential patients want to know, well, what's the difference between cortisone injections and PRP, and can I use that to avoid getting therapy? I'm all for it. If that's what you want, let me help you make a decision. I often talk about avoiding those things, but for some of you, you might want it, and here's the biggest difference. And I think one of the biggest differences when people are deciding is cortisone injections are covered by insurance, whereas PRP injections are not covered. So when you're doing PRP injections, you're basically deciding, do I invest in this type of level of treatment? Just like you would invest in time and the level of for therapy treatment, So PRP kind of cuts the time because someone else is just injecting you. So PRP, without going into detail, is taking your own body, basically it's platelets, like your own blood, and taking out pieces of it and injecting in it. It is considered by the insurance companies experimental, even though it's been used for quite a while now, but insurances don't want to cover it, and so it's not covered. So majority of people opt, if they're like, I'd rather have a quick fix, I'm going to go with cortisone injections because at least that's covered by insurance. And then PRPs are usually, I think people who consider PRP injections are because cortisone didn't work for them, or maybe therapy didn't work for them, either one. But that's one of the biggest reasons why one person picks one or the other, right? They're also different in terms of how they treat that area. So if you have shoulder pain, like you have a tendonitis or anything like that, cortisone injections, when placed correctly into that area that's causing inflammation, cortisone actually reduces inflammation. The whole point of the steroid injection is to reduce the inflammation. Whereas PRP injections, the whole point is taking your body's biological tissue, injecting it into that particular area, increase a certain amount of inflammation so that the body essentially brings in the cells to kind of repair itself. That's a whole concept, very simplistic concept of what PRP is, right? So it's taking your own body's ability, injecting it very specifically to that area so that it could repair itself, right? So that's the biggest difference. And then the last thing that I think is the biggest difference between cortisone and PRP is cortisone injections are meant to be a short-term relief type of problem, whereas PRP injections are considered to be a long-term types of problem. As a therapist, since I'm not giving the injections, I tend to think about it from a more mechanical type of issue. So if you have a mechanical problem that's happening in your shoulder, you can get all the injections you want, but if something is not in alignment, it's going to keep rubbing, right? So it's like you hit a curb. You're driving in your car, you hit a curb, and now your alignment is off. It keeps veering to the right. So now instead of fixing the alignment issue, you go and you get your car washed, and you go and you get your oil changed, and all of that makes you feel good because the the light maybe isn't on anymore on your engine light because it's running a little smoother. Your car looks beautiful on the inside and outside, but when you drive, you're still veering to the right, right? So you have to ask, do any of those injections get to the root cause of why you got the tendonitis in the first place? Majority of our time, see, our shoulders are so unstable because we have a lot of motion. Our shoulder goes into like 360 degrees, right? It goes across our body. It moves in all, like, so many directions. It gets to things behind our back, to the back of our neck, like it goes everywhere. And our shoulders are essentially held on our body literally by this point right here. So your collarbone attaches to your sternum, right? And that's how your whole arm and shoulder complex. People think about the shoulders right here, but I think about the shoulder as this whole quadrant, from the back to the shoulder blade to this long humerus bone to your clavicle, your collarbone, and it is attached merely right here via bone. Everything else is muscle related. Everything else is held together by muscle. Your whole shoulder complex and your arms are held onto your body every which way by muscles in the front and muscles in the back. And of course, your rotator cuffs are, and then there's a group of muscles I call like your side muscles that kind of like hold everything together. In its most simplistic explanation, right? And so if this is the ball of your joint, right? If it sits a little too far up, it's gonna rub and hit into your acromion, which is the part of your shoulder blade. You have your shoulder blade and it hooks right? So if the bone here is kind of sitting a little too high, it's gonna keep hitting and it's gonna keep rubbing. So you can get all the injections you want, but if you don't fix that problem, it's gonna keep rubbing and rubbing. So yes, PRP does provide more long-term results, but for some people, it won't provide it forever, because you use your arms and you hit that curve and you kind of get out of alignment. Sometimes, so hitting upward is one of the ways that we develop tendonitis. The other ways is really because if you think about your shoulder, right? It's like a ball, it's like a socket right here. So the ball sits in here, but sometimes the part in the back, what is considered your capsule, gets really tight back there. So that's really normal. And so when it's really tight back there, the ball of this bone, your humerus, your humeral head, sits a little bit too far forward, and so it hits forward and up, forward and up. And this is just what happens. This is what normally just the mechanics of your shoulder. And so even though the biggest difference between your cortisone injection and PRP, one is short term, one's long term, as a therapist, I tend to think about the mechanics of how your body moves. And so the injections can, in some cases, be very helpful, but if they're not somehow paired with fixing that malalignment with how your muscles work and how your shoulder blade gives you stability, if you're not working on those or addressing those areas, those injections aren't going to be as helpful for you, right? So you have to make those decisions for yourself. You have to talk to your therapist or your doctor who you're working with in order to be able to help you make decisions about what's right for the particular shoulder problems you have. Shoulder pain is not so simple. It's just shoulder pain. Really getting to the root cause and the diagnosis of what really is going on will help you get better results out of any treatment that you decide to go for, right? Like I said, I don't do injections, but I help my patients make decisions on what they need and whether therapy is beneficial or not beneficial, or if they want to do anything. I help my patients. They have to be patients first, in order for me to do that, right? But I wanted to give a brief analysis on it so you can at least start the decision-making process and be a lot more informed as it pertains to what you want to be able to do. Again, this is purely an educational video, and I want you to take it as that. Take that information, take it back to your therapist, take it back to your doctor, and then make a decision. Don't ignore your shoulder pain. Ignoring shoulder pain usually only gets worse, and it usually will become other issues that you had no idea that it was going to become. Right? So then you're like, oh, but my shoulder pain went away, and then poof, something else pops up later, and then you now have to deal with shoulder issues as well as this other problem. So speaking as a therapist, speaking as a hand therapist, that I see a lot of this, and so take it for what you will. So if this video was at all helpful for you to educate you and help inform you better about what's going on with your shoulder, please consider liking it. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe. Also share this so anyone else who's going through this and having to make these decisions, it can help them as well. Thanks.